All right. I don't know what happened with that, but however, so let's start this part over again. So, um, before I start the show again, this is Saturday, April 10th, 2021. I'll let you guys know that I believe in 6 degrees of separation. It's been happening since I started this show. Somebody in your circle knows somebody in my circle. We all connect. The whole point of my show is to help connect people, whether it's you're one person away from where you need to be in your destiny, information, someone to tell a story, to put their business out here, to broadcast their show, their music, whatever. I'm here for all of that. And the next thing I'd say is I introduce the person that I'm talking to. How do I know them? Well, I know him as David. He's going to tell you his name when he gets to it because I'm not about to butcher his name. But I've known David. He's probably known me before I've known him. Is that about right?
Yeah, use the baby.
So, again, I've known him since I was little. And we grew up in Wayside Missionary Baptist Church, where his grandfather was the pastor. And my family and his family has been intertwined for umpteen years, umpteen years. And,
De-
huh?
I say decades,
Yes,
forever.
decades. Absolutely. So, when I reached out to him, I was very, I want to say shocked, but I was very humbled in him accepting my invitation to come on the show. I believe that over time, he has so much stuff to say, he has a story to tell, and I'm going to let him on this platform. We're going to do some, dialogue. This is what we do, and we're going to go from there. So, Mr. David, these days, what is your name now? What do you go by?
Ak Ish Melekama. And that means Hebrew as Hebrew for brother man of war. But it's just something that as I came into like the knowledge of the real truth of these scriptures, and that I just needed a name to reflect that as far as what I'm doing as far as hip hop. Now, there's also another surname which the scriptures speak that we would surname our names by. And my name is David Ben Israel, meaning David, son of Israel. But lyrically and rap wise, I go by Akish Maleka, my brother man of war, because it's a fight out here.
Mm-hmm.
And, and we warriors over here. The name of our label is Warpath. Mm-hmm. We just fighting, trying to get this truth out there.
So,
now, what
I
do
know
you want to
yesterday you called like, okay, what are we going to talk about? So my first thought was we're going to talk about music. How did you get into that? And then we talked about how did we go from being raised in the Baptist church to where you are now. So we're gonna go from how did you get into the art of music?
Well, I've always been around music. Like, as you know, who was on the organ every week? Mama or Tony or, all of us were in the choir. Remember them red and white, big long robes? We used to be marching with our finger up. So yeah, I've always been around music, but like when the 80s popped, hip hop LL Cool J radio, I was gone. From that point on, I was gone. I just, started writing and writing and writing. And, one of the strangest things that happened to me is my mom found my rap book one day. And it was some pretty strange words in there coming from her son. And I'll never forget, she said, I'm gonna make you take this book and read it to your granddad. Granddaddy was a pastor.
Pastor, yes.
That didn't matter. That was cool. I was like, okay. She was like, get the heck out of my face.
Right.
She was mad. That's how much hip hop had me gone. And so over time, I just, honed in, learned what I had to do, learn the art of words, what to do with them, how to make them effective, what they can affect. And, it started out like everybody else, the gangster, just trying to get paid off of it. And eventually I landed a deal with Too Short. And after that, that wasn't what I was, looking for. But I was just trying to be heard. But when I landed that deal, I was on the Nationwide Independence Day back in 1999, song number 6. And, he did a nationwide project. It was called Nationwide Independence Day, where he went all over the nation and signed artists and did a compilation album. That's when Lil Jon and the East Side Boys first came out. They were on the project. Bad Ways, Pimp C, a whole bunch of national artists. But I was song number 6 on this one. So, after that happened, a lot of other things went down, and I found out that that's not what I wanted. That's not what I was doing hip hop for. Because the game is very dirty. So when people tell you about a dirty game, you can't tell me. I've been there. I saw it firsthand. I was in Too Short's basement. You understand what I'm saying? So, after all of that was over, then came the scriptures calling again. And I, hopped into Christian rap, back to our base, back to our source. And I seen that I didn't want to be there either, doing shows. I'm not gonna name the artists that I did shows with, but I didn't want to be there either. That wasn't what it was. And about 2016, I heard about the Hebrew Israelites. And I was like, well, let me look to see what they talking about. Because I had went from Baptist to Jehovah's Witness to Seventh-day Adventist. Yeah, I went through all the phases.
Wow.
Because the thing is, okay, we all know Granddad, my grandfather, beautiful man. But there eventually comes a time when he's going to have to pass the baton, right? All of us have to pass the baton to the next generation that's coming. Are we to stay where he's at? Because knowledge is going to increase. It's up to us to take it even further. And the only way we can take the truth of these scriptures further is to be re-educated in these scripts even further than he was. Not saying that we're better or worse, but you have to keep it moving. You got, I'm my son, I want them to elevate more because I'm teaching them what I'm learning. Just like my granddad taught me what he knew, I'm teaching them what I'm learning, and now y'all take it further. It's a never-ending process when it comes to being re-educated in these scriptures. And so I was saying that I've been with Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness, all of them. And I know the family looked at me crazy, like.
I'm sure. That's why I'm like, this has not even bothered me. This is a real topic that I knew you are a Ford. Or are you a Ford or are you a Jackson? Which one are you?
Jackson. Okay. Jackson and Ford.
Okay, so I'm thinking, how in the world? I mean, the Ford name itself, okay, holds weight, right? Even back then, everybody knew David Ford, pastor. Everybody knew the Ford name. Even to this day, everybody still knows, right?
Right.
And they knew if anything we could sing for sure. Very talented for sure. And it was about the word of God, right?
Right.
So when I first saw your name change, I was like, is he Muslim? What is this? Like, I'm not about to touch that because, like I said, we grew up and I'm not saying much older than me, but I know you're older than me. And I'm like, how in the world did he get from there to here? And I actually remember I had to be maybe high. I'm not sure when that happened, but I remember a lot of people um was speaking your name a lot, and it had something to do with music. I remember your song was on the radio. They did this big old party, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, David gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay,
Well,
but
that was before the record deal. That was
okay,
before the record deal because locally I had, man, like I had so many songs go number one just locally, and
right,
every day, all day, my songs was over the radio. So that's how I actually landed the deal. So when Short came to town, people was like, "This is what's hot here
wow,
in Detroit." You know what I mean? So
okay.
yeah, that's how all that happened. And,
Wow. See,
and
I didn't know see the difference as I'm, dreaming about this stuff, how what we're going to talk about today. In churches you have phases where, you might have been born and raised. My mom probably was carrying me in her stomach while I was at Wayside. Who knows? But
yeah,
um you go through phases where you're born and raised into this church, right? And you're there for years, and then you become to this age or something happens where you phase out. I saw you, and then eventually I didn't see you no more, and eventually I saw you less and less, and then I would see you like, maybe a funeral or something big happened where the family had to come together. That was the only time I saw you after a while.
right,
And
right.
so I'm like, okay, so I remember you, I remember you, I remember you. What happened to David? I don't know where he's at. And so, this is the phase of where I am now with you. Like, I'm not big fan, I never was big fan of rap because one, I couldn't relate. And two, half the time I didn't know what they was talking about, or nor did I understand what they were saying. So
Right.
when you a gospel girl, you like, yeah, that ain't it. I don't know what they talking about. I was sheltered, so I don't know nothing about what they talking about.
Hey, we was all sheltered, but like the phase that you say I phased out when you didn't see me, good, because I was I was learning my way, carving my path, and I didn't need to be seen at that time.
Right, right.
I was on like that David that y'all knew. That was um that was something different. I was grown, I was just doing my thing. Fine, as my grandfather would say, and as my dad would say, the boy finding his way. You know what I mean? Just all praises be to y'all that um I'm still found here after all of that.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? So that he ain't done with me yet. And now it's a bigger picture now that I didn't even see. That's now it's just amazing to me, even in itself, even though I'm a part of my own journey, but just
Mhm,
to not ever know what steps I was taking and still
mhm.
be covered in those steps as I was taking them, it's amazing.
So how do I guess so we touched a little bit about Warpath, right?
Yeah.
So you started saying that, once you started, the scripture started coming back to you, and it was a different way on how to get the message out, which we supposed to do anyway. Your life is supposed to be, carrying the message to all those who are able to hear, all those who um, are in this journey of life itself. Like, um, And I have to say, recently I was listening to your music, and now as a older adult, now I understand some of the things that you were saying. Um, Getting back to basically eating, getting back to the beginning, so we can stay on the right path and not believe everything that has been given to us as if that's the truth.
Right.
So,
Now, see, in order to get this message out, first we have to know the message. And in order for us to know the message, the only way you're going to get the message, you're going to have to eat the role. Meaning you're going to have to learn, you're going to have to study to show yourself approved. You're going to have to understand, first learn these scriptures, and then understand what they're pertaining to. Like right now, I'm on a big kick in these scriptures about social justice and finding out that the whole law, all the scriptures, what Jesus taught, all of this was social justice. Yes, he was the healer, the ultimate healer. He was he did miracles. But when it came to dealing with humanity, with man, he always tried to bring them on a social justice platform. By Jerusalem being colonized by Rome, all the so-called Jews were either there were hierarchies, there were social class advantages. You had scribes, Pharisees, Herodians, Sadducees. All of these were the higher echelon people who were like your mayors and governors to Caesar, to Rome, to Pilate.
yes.
And the rest of the people were impoverished and poor. You know, to be a tax collector in that time, you had a real good gig and many advantages to go with that. So this is why Jesus was constantly against them, because of the lack of compassion and respect that they had for the poor, which he was considered one of. They called him a peasant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when all of the people came and learned about who this Jesus was, the multitudes grew. And this is one of the reasons why the higher echelon of Israel had to come get him at night, because the people wasn't going to have it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So this is the social justice that I'm learning in the scriptures. It's so much that we would have to just, after this, I got to go back to class. You know what I mean? So it's so much. But we have to get this message out. We have to learn the message. It has to be re-educated in what this message is, that we got to spread. If we're going to be the light, what does the light do? A lot of people don't even know what the light does. I will make you a light to the people. Okay, how? By just saying, oh, you're a good person? No, you have to show them
yourself,
what needs to be done inside of what these scriptures are pertaining to. All God brings in all people, every son of Adam. But you have to know what it is that you have to do. And that's where Israel was chosen to be that. So yeah, my name may sound it, but we're definitely not Muslim. We use the scriptures entirely.
So how did it actually feel? I'm not saying the family might have isolated, but how did you feel when you was like, okay, let me step out of what I was taught as a kid to be out? Are you on your own? Or
yeah, I remember that started like, it was kind of fun. Like I would be learning stuff. And this was before the Hebrew thing. I would be learning stuff with the Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventists, whoever I was with at that time. And, you know, we would still come through and, you know, Thanksgiving. That was a big thing in our family back in the 90s. You know what I mean? So I'm learning this stuff. And so after we would eat at Thanksgiving or whatever, you know, we'd sit around and chop it up. And every year, guess what opens? The scriptures. We'd start talking about the Bible. And I start coming with what I'm learning, and I'm asking questions. You know what I mean? To granddad, grandma, Uncle Roddy, all the people who were there who were involved in Wayside. You know what I mean? I'm asking these questions, and it wasn't never a disrespect thing, and they knew that. And because Auntie Nat used to say, I'm so proud that you learned and that you trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
It was never a disrespect thing to the family, but some of the stuff that I've been taught, I'm not seeing it here, right here. And so over time, that just kept growing and growing and growing. And I kept paying attention to the scriptures. And that nobody was disrespecting nobody. We were just, we were just chopping it up, bouncing, what we knew of each other. And we always held Granddad, and even to this day, I still hold Granddad and the teachings in high regard. Because one thing, whatever he didn't know, you have a whole community that can vouch for what he did know. You understand? Being his grandson and we staying at his house, a lot of times phone ring. And we didn't have cell phones and stuff back then.
Right.
A lot of times the phone rung, Granddad got up 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes he took us with him, or whoever the child that was awake with him, go minister to somebody that was
in need,
going through something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All the cookouts, all of the swim mobiles, all of that. To the community was a community then. Everybody was on the same plane. The plants were open. Everybody was working. You know what I mean? So, and we were all, even though we were okay, we were all still poor. The government cheese hit all of us. And that was the best grilled cheese sandwiches, by the way.
Absolutely.
Those are the best grilled cheese. But to see that and to remember that, he was a great person. So, the scripture says,
was, like you said, he was hands-on. When I grew up, I didn't have a grandfather. So your grandfather was my grandfather.
Right.
So just like
a lot of people's grandfather.
So at the end of the day, if I got in trouble, I'm about to take you to your granddaddy house and you gonna get it. Like, no, don't take me there. No, don't do that. But it was the hugs, it was the kisses, better, you gotta do better. It was from Auntie Lynette. Even to this day, if I need something, if I have someone to talk to, they were there. They are still hands-on with everybody that was in the church. And they were people that cared about you outside the church. And that's the most important part. They came
but that was the building and the community. That's what community was. Like what you just said, your mom will take you to my granddaddy house for discipline. Who does that nowadays? We don't trust the next person 2 houses down with your child. You know what I mean? But that was probably the last generation of pure community. Because everybody was still basically somewhere a little above others or a little below others, but basically we were all in that struggle, the class of the oppressed. So we stuck together, and we watched the adults help us stick together. And Lula Mae, Miss Shelton, I was at everybody's house. My neighbors, everybody's house. I used to go to Miss Lewis' house 3 houses down from me and take a nap. Like, who does that now in 2021? You can't trust that.
No, you can't trust that. I was telling someone not too long ago on one of the other shows that if somehow we get back to it takes a village. My part of my village was my church family. Next to my birth family, it was the church, was my church family. And then it was the schools. So it took everybody to keep eyes on you. It was nobody, really, like you said, perverted and all of that stuff. I had plenty of bigger uncles that made sure, like Isaiah made sure that we had the whole all around person. Like you had your education, you had fun, whatever you played basketball, you went swimming, the YMCA, all of those things that we did every week to make sure that we stayed out of trouble. I miss those things. Like these kids have no idea the things that they're missing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, technology has vastly advanced, but the fibers of community are vastly eroded. It's over. That's done. Like it's over. That part is over. You know what I mean? And I'm just happy that I was part of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Of being able to look back and say, I know what that looks like.
Yes.
I know what that looks like.
So what is your process of when you started doing your music? Like, when you come up with songs.
Well, it differs because sometimes I'm writing, I just write stuff, and then when the track comes along, I try to place it to it. But mostly like my brother Tony, he does.
Which I've been trying to get on this show for how long now?
Right. He does most of the music. Mm-hmm. I do some tracks every now and then, but he does most of the music, and the stuff that he sends kind of puts me in that mood to write or what to write.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But the basis is always the scriptures.
Okay.
Because this is what we fight with. This is the sword, which is the word. You know, so this is what we fight with. But how clever am I going to be able to do it to where it's not going to be such a turnoff, like, and not worried about really a turnoff because people gonna be turned off no matter what. Mm-hmm. But to do it in an art form and be clever with it, that's the challenge for me that I like taking on. And it works. Like I think pretty much we make some pretty good music, just me and him. Right. So, and we just happen to be brothers. Right. That grew up fighting and everything together. You know what I mean? So, now to be in this phase, especially with him, that's another blessing in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, like as we saw with DMX, all these things don't last forever. Right. These things do not last forever. Life is like that. It's quick. I'm about to be 50 years old. It's over. It's that quick. I done blink twice and I'm about to be 50.
Wow. What?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Are you 7 years older than me?
Yeah, but
it seemed like you was way older than that.
No, I mean, I'm old, so you old too.
I didn't say, listen, I did not say that.
No, but see, in that time, like, okay, if you 7, I'm 14. You know what I mean? You still running around with flowers in your hair. Your dress was way out here at the bottom. I mean, that's why it seemed like that.
I didn't. I thought you got and you guys were tall. Like y'all played basketball, for the church and all of this stuff. So I'm thinking y'all are much older than you really are.
Right. Well, from a kid's vantage point, of course, we looked at like giants and probably like, oh, they grown. We still teenagers too. Do you know what I mean? So, I ain't gonna hold that against you. But yeah, to only be 7 years younger, I can understand why you thought that at that time.
Yeah, I really did think that y'all were like so much older. And I'm like, yeah, I know he was older than me. Until you start talking, like, oh, well, you're not that much older than me that I thought you were. So,
right. Like I always thought my big brother was just a giant. He only 3 years older than me. You know what I'm saying? But I looked up to him, Jody.
Okay. See,
yeah, but
he was. I barely saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I barely saw him.
He was making his way.
Right. Okay. So I know him, but I don't know him as much as I know you guys. Well, more so Tony and Buffy.
Yeah. The sweetheart.
Yes, but I had to ask. I said, "Do I call you by your real name, or are you still Buffy?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm still Buffy. I'll be Buffy for the rest of my life."
Yeah, but you know, back to the music. Just trying to sorry about that. But just trying to get this message out about who we are, what we're supposed to be doing, and what the earth looks like. Um, that's what it's about. Like the point of trying to just be a rapper, that's been dead with me. I've been to where a lot of people, you know, strive to go. Of course, I didn't get the fame and the riches and all of that, but talent-wise, it was proven that I was good enough to be
Good
there.
enough. Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And so at this point, the gift is still there. Just because they say we're not going to pay you for it doesn't mean the gift is not still there. You can still sing, right? Right? No
Yes.
matter what, you can still sing no matter what. They can't take the gift from you. Now, if you listen to what they tell you and you set the gift down, then you suffer loss.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So the gift is you. It was given by God. Use it back to bring him glory. And that's how we look at it now. Like all our music is free at Warpath. All our music is free. And when we did charge for the music, all of the money that we stole, we used the money to aid people who were in need. We ended up giving away over $1,700 just off record sales that people bought our music with.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't we're older. We all have labored with our hands. I'm okay. Tone's okay. You know, people, we do okay. We're not rich. We're not dirt poor. So what we use the gift for, if we're going to put his name on it, for his people that are in need. And this is the constant theme of the scriptures that a lot of people don't know, is to look out for the poor, look out for the widow, the fatherless, you know what I'm saying? The downtrodden. Mm-hmm. This is a constant theme of the scriptures. And a lot of people don't understand that. And they don't look at that aspect of it. It's just, you know, we're looking at sin, which is we're supposed to look at. But equity and justice, that is the promise to Abraham. So we got to be doing this justice, this judgment and justice. And so that's what we're trying to do with our music. So now, you know, we just made all the music free and said, because that becomes a headache. So now we just made all the music free, and if people want to donate, because I didn't want to sell music, but I was trying to figure out a way how to garner up funds to provide for the people. Okay. You know what I mean? And so that's what we're doing. It's free now. People can leave donations, but the big thing is to get the music out, get the message out. So now you can just go to our website free and just download all of it. It's like 10 projects up there full of music for people to just grab it at any given time, any moment, whenever they want it. Mm-hmm.
So do you ever plan to take a trip to Israel, or have you been?
No, I haven't been. And no, that's not what I'm, you know, trying to do. I mean, because eventually we're going to get back there, because that's the promise. Mm-hmm. So, but to just take a trip, because I remember Grandma and Granddad took a trip over there, Roddy and Auntie Ned. But yeah, that was never big for me to go to Israel. Mm-hmm. But now, you know, we're learning the dispersed of Israel. That's the important thing. Where are the scattered? Where are the dispersed? What are they doing? What do they know? What should they be involved in? Mm-hmm. That's the thing. And I know it sounds pretty vague here, because it'll take so much reading right now for us to get into it, to point these things out and show you. But we could do that at a later time. But just to bring out the point of what I'm thinking, what we're trying to do.
Okay. So are your sons into music as well?
My oldest, he's not like musically inclined, but he's you don't have to be musically inclined to learn the intricacies of it, like how to produce it, how to, to do the behind the scenes work. And that's what he's questioning now. And that's what we're doing now with mine. Are you still singing?
Huh?
Huh?
What?
I remember you used to sing.
Yes, I sing.
Are you still singing?
Yes, I sing.
Well, you need to bring them vocals on through.
Look, we had this conversation with your brother, and he. So maybe I was talking to the wrong person. Maybe I need to be talking to you. I told him I would sing.
Yeah, because Tony a little different. he like all of the studio stuff, he in it, but he ain't. Like what he like to do is, and it's cool. It's cool. His passion is making that track, making that music. That's his passion. Like my passion has never been that I can do it, but that's not my passion. My passion is writing. My passion is reciting it and building
some nice beats, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, he's sick. He's sick. He's been sick for a while now. But we don't want to kill for his sickness though. And so I understand his passion. So yeah, that would be like, you probably want to holler at me on that part, because I'm actually building the song structures and recording this stuff. And that's what I'm doing. So once he gives me the track, he's at liberty to go do whatever he needs to do. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to be there.
And people don't know of course my mom, well, both my parents was sung. My mom.
Oh yeah, my fault. By the way, how was your mama?
She's doing better. Thanks for asking. It's still some question marks, but she's a lot better.
Okay.
She taught me a lot with singing, and of course she comes from a singing family too. My first singing debut, of course, was in Wayside, singing with my mom. And all I can remember, always singing in the choir, with, was it Brother Man, Dee Dee, Rob?
Yeah. Man, it was a good days there, Brother Man.
Yeah. What was it Gene?
Yeah, Gene Jackson.
Gene, your mom. I mean, we had some of the.
That's late 70s, early 80s with Gene.
Well,
because Gene is actually my brother's godmother.
Really?
Yeah, my older brother. Well, I mean, she's passed now, but she was his mother.
So all of those opportunities to, do our Easter speeches and the Old Ship of Zion play and all of these different things. That's why I'm not afraid to be in front of people. Is I learned this as a kid. And what I learned there, I was able to take it to school, or, I sing in a praise and worship team now. I do music. My husband does music. So God turned it around where I'm, I done wrote some things. So we'll see.
All right. Well, I'm gonna definitely keep you in mind, and we can chop it up on the other stuff along the way. Do you know what I mean? So, hey, it's a blessing. Let's do it. Let's get it together. Because coming up from where we come from, everybody did something in that church family. And I'll never forget that. Like, I'm not letting the things that I've learned make me think that, or look down on where I come from. It's a blessing to learn more than what we thought we knew.
Right.
In life, you're supposed to continue learning, but to have that experience and people steal from that same experience, like yourself, my family, your family, and just the memories in itself. Like when I go back to the neighborhood, do you ever go back?
I've seen it.
It doesn't look
the same.
It's not the same.
Nothing at all. My house on Chelsea doesn't even exist anymore. It's like flattened out now. So
and to see, like when you look at my grandmother's old house, right? Look at that house and the church next to it. How many memories just flood every time I go by there?
Not just that corner, but whole Warren and Rome, right. Period.
Because y'all had the store.
Yes, I was just about to say that. Our family had the store across the street. My uncle Reggie still lives over there.
Oh yeah.
You know the 2-family flat that was next door to this. My uncle still lives there.
Oh, for real? Dang, yeah, because we used to come out of church. I used to save part of my money to give an offering, and I used to go and take it to the store.
Yep.
If mama gave me $1, I put 50 cents in. Yep. I take 50 cents over to the store.
That's what I was saying earlier. Our family has been intertwined for years since I've been in existence.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we got a late start, but I think we covered pretty much because I got like it's almost 2:00 and I got to get to class. I got to keep learning.
Okay. Well, we'll talk offline. And then we'll set some things up. And if we have to, get back on and just talk strictly, whatever, I'm game for whatever we need.
We can do that. We could, like, if you want to open up more of what I'm into and what we're trying to do and what I'm actually talking about, where we pull the book out, we could do that.
Okay.
No problem. All right.
Absolutely. So thank you for taking the time out to talk with us. I enjoyed this memory lane. I enjoyed, finding out where you are. And like I said, even on the music thing, on even getting the message out, I'm game for all of that.
Okay. Well, we definitely gonna talk.
All right. I'll see you later.
All right. Shalom, Camila.
All right. Bye-bye.